Call in, guys. Talk to me nice.
Welcome back to Sports Tea. Welcome back to Sports Tea.
Talk to me nice. Nice. Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Tea. I know I just had another stream, so I'm grateful that you guys jumped over here with me as well. Super excited to do this show tonight. I have a jam-packed 4-topic episode for you guys tonight, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. As you can see on the thumbnail, we're going to talk about Kyrie. He pretty much went viral over his comments about LeBron. I don't even know that he meant to get into that. He's this huge gamer. He's streaming on Twitch now, and he's constantly chatting and engaging with NBA fans and folks who are also gaming and streaming along with him. So he was streaming, and I guess as he's playing his game, he's responding to some of the Twitch comments. And one of the comments basically asked, well, it wasn't an ask, it was a comment. And it was just a statement saying, like, if you didn't like playing with LeBron, then you wouldn't like playing with Kobe Bryant either. And something tells me that that doesn't sit very right with Kyrie's ass. And he instantly responded and kind of goes on this mini rant. And I don't know if he knew what he was getting himself into, similar to his flat earth comments. The LaBarbie fans went off, guys. They were attacking him. This went viral, and we're going to talk about it tonight. It's kind of like 2 parts that we're going to get into, just because I think that there's some important things that he said that I want to address and sort of, give my take on. But I'm just going to play the video for you guys, and we're going to react together. And yeah, let me know what you think. I know that a lot of you guys have seen it. As you guys load into the chat and into the stream, do me a favor, like the video, share it with your friends, your family. Let everybody know that you love Sports Tea and you want to grow the network even bigger. And then also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. But let's jump right into this video. It's Kyrie Irving. He's going off on his Twitch account or whatever this is. And, I wonder, I don't think he has his feather in his ear in this, but Kyrie, I think he's a very good human, and I hope that he's not one of those folks who like goes crazy temporarily from just everything that he sees and might not be able to handle. So I hope that his spirituality can carry him through some of the things that I know is hurting his heart. But let's start this video and we'll react together.
Somebody said if you don't like playing with LeBron, you wouldn't like playing with Kobe. Bro, you guys got to stop these narratives, man. It's not that I didn't like playing with Bron, you guys. And, I don't want to go into detail about it. Some of y'all comments just be so asinine. Bro, like when I was in Cleveland and I was a young player, I had no idea Bron was going to come back. Yeah, I had no idea that Cleveland was going to welcome him back after the shit I witnessed when I was 18 years old and I had to watch him leave Cleveland. I don't think you guys realize the depths of that. And during that time when I was in Cleveland, I had no say-so in what was going on. I was just a young player. I signed my max deal with Cleveland. I had no idea, man. I found out that Bron was coming back like the rest of you guys. In the world. I had no inclination. I had no time to prepare. It's not that it was on my bingo card like, hey, I'm going to spend my career playing with Bron. Like, I had no idea, guys. And just for somebody giving that comment, I appreciate you allowing me to go detailing it, because the reason why I say I would have loved to play with Kobe, because I would have loved to have started my career with, I love Cleveland, don't get me wrong. I'm appreciative of all the things that they've done for me. But at the same time, I would have loved to choose the franchise I wanted to go to. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to develop next to some of my favorite players and some of my favorite people. Because being a young player, when you're on a team that's not winning a lot of games, there's a lot of bad habits that form. And that's what ended up happening to me when I was very young. I had a lot of bad habits. I was not a winner. I was not a good loser, at all. Like, I take my accountability. I had a lot of bad habits as a young player. And that came from losing games and just trying to get buckets all the time. Right. I know it may have been beautiful for everybody to watch and getting all the highlights and getting all the accolades, but all I really wanted to do was win. I've won a high school championship. You know what I mean? My goal was to win a college championship, and I've won an NBA championship. For me, I've grown up in this industry or grown up in this culture as a winner. I've won a lot of games. I've lost a lot of games. You know what I mean? I've been to the finals. I've won in the finals. I've lost in the finals multiple times. So for me, I'm happy with being able to get a chance to play with good teams. But when you guys make it about one player, it is kind of just weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just one player that you have to promote. Like, we had like solid players on our team, and I probably took that for granted more often. Like when we were really good, I was like, damn, we're actually pretty good. We got a lot of veterans. We got a lot of people that commit to it. But when you're playing with somebody like Bron or somebody that you guys like to compare him to, it's a different animal. It's a different journey. You know what I'm saying? Like you're automatically expected to be at the top of the charts, the top of the league. You know, every time you play with Bron, it's going to be a lot of media attention. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, the narratives. It's going to be about a lot of spun narratives. It's going to be a lot of politics. It's going to be a lot of shit that a lot of people don't see in front of the camera. And for me, I was just a young person trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? It's not that I dislike playing with Bron at any time. It was just literally, it was my time to move on. And that's what people got to accept. They want a deeper, detailed dive in terms of what happened. It's like, it was my time to move on. I don't care if I remember it as that person. Like, that was my decision. I wouldn't think for it.
Garnett actually knocked
it down. I don't care. You guys can have your own opinions. It's my life. It's my career. No one could ever live in the shoes. No one could ever have anything that's like legitimate to say or what they would have done in my position. Because you have no idea what you would have done. Good shot, coach. You have no idea what you would have done if you were in my position. You don't know what the fuck happened. So many media people that were commenting on shit, so you have no idea what's happening. And here you are just adding details to something that has nothing to do with it. And so everybody was trying to guess, everybody was trying to figure out what's going on.
Unbelievable.
When I'm done playing, you guys will hear the real story. Trust me, you guys will hear the real story. When I'm done playing, for the next few years.
Kyrie Irving, it turns out he did have, it looked like a feather earring and a blue tassel. I actually really like it. I think it's super cute. But anyhow, Kyrie said a lot, right? So he started off, and the first thing that came to my mind, and I'm just going to fast forward to the end, is why even wait? You started telling us, just get it all out. Why wait? You know, just tell us what's on your heart and on your mind, Kyrie. I think that, you know, he has a lot to share. I think that anybody who's played with LeBron James has a lot to share, but he's basically confirmed what myself, Man Down Sports, Ticket TV, all the truth tellers on YouTube have been saying, which is that there's a lot of politics, a lot of made up spun narratives when you play alongside of LeBron James. And it is, unfortunately, it's a toxic environment for any player to play under. And I'll just take you back to the beginning of his comments when he just openly admitted straight out of the gate, like, I didn't even really want to play with LeBron. That was never on my bingo card. That wasn't something I was thinking about. That wasn't something that I wanted. I did not know he was coming back to Cleveland. And quite frankly, I never thought he would, because they burned his jersey and he left in such a dramatic fashion to go and chase rings. Why would I think he'd want to come back? So I get that point. And I remember back at that time in 2010, I mean, he was being blasted all over the place for leaving his team. A superstar of that caliber just didn't do that. And you did it because you were too weak to continue to try to find a different way to win, to stick with your team, your hometown. Like, how do you leave your hometown team? Like, that's got to be some type of like all-time shamefulness. You get drafted to the team where you grew up, hopefully rooting for. I bet that LeBron James probably wasn't even a Cavaliers fan. He was probably a Bulls fan. He was probably a Lakers fan, because isn't he a Cowboys fan? Like, he doesn't have, you know, like, you can tell that he didn't grow up with a dad. He just liked whatever. He had no like solid male influence in his life to even teach him how to be a fan of sports. So it was just kind of like, I'm just going to like whatever. So that's probably why he left. I can't imagine him having any real connection to the Cavaliers and leaving that team. But anyhow, he leaves that team, super dramatic, right? Kyrie talks about that, like, hey, I really never thought he was coming back. I never wanted to play with this man. I thought I was going to be the first option. That's pretty much what I hear out of Kyrie. So I'm hearing like, and sometimes hindsight is 2020, right? When we look back on something, we realize all these things. We think about things that we could have done better. And that's typically where we take accountability, right? So back then he was talking about the earth is flat and all these different kinds of things. And he discusses his bad habits. He discusses that I'm guessing he had bad habits on the court because they were losing a lot. So he was just cooking, doing whatever he wanted, you know, scoring his points, playing his game, probably out for self. You know, I can see those kinds of bad habits when you're playing on a losing team. I get that. I think where I got annoyed with Kyrie, I'm going to be really honest with you, where I got annoyed and, because there's a lot of positive that he said. And for me, he pretty much nailed it throughout most of the video. But then towards the end, he literally starts whining. And it's just no, you're whining that no one knows what they would do in your position because we don't know anything, blah, blah, blah. It's like that friend that says that they have so much to say, but they can't say it. Or they're just so upset all day and you're coming up to them, asking them what's going on all day. And it's like, just shut up already if you don't want to tell me. And that's how I kind of feel two ways about it, is because, you want to say something, but then you don't. But then on the other hand, I'm really grateful to Kyrie Irving for giving us signs that not everything is on the up and up with Clutch or the NBA. And he just can't speak on it right now because he's in the league. And he knows what it is to speak out against the NBA or anybody in a powerful position and then turn around and you can't get a contract. Or, you're being blasted all over the media and your job is potentially at risk. So I just think that the power of the media and the NBA is so strong that who knows what they'll try to do even after Kyrie retires to hurt his post-retirement career for exposing LeBron, Clutch, and the NBA. But it makes me wonder, okay, well, why does Kyrie have to wait so long to reveal the truth about LeBron? That's why. There's going to be consequences. There's going to be consequences for him speaking out, telling the truth, right? We know that. Anytime somebody says something about LeBron, there becomes a media smear campaign. Happens all the time, like clockwork, with almost perfect consistency. And if you guys notice, the very first thing that happened was Kyrie is getting upset because somebody said that if he couldn't play with LeBron, then he wouldn't have been able to play with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is, for Kyrie Irving, he is the best player that he's seen, probably. He was his favorite player growing up. He had a lot of respect for Kobe and the Mamba. Outside of the guys that he looked up to in his family, Rod Strickland, his own father, Kobe Bryant was somebody that he wanted to play with. And I just think he gets so, in my opinion, I think that Kobe Bryant is a trigger for Kyrie Irving. When he goes on these rants, when he starts, really saying something these days, it's because he's tired of the Kobe Bryant slander. And I think that this is a hill that he's willing to die on. He's willing to stand 10 toes down for Kobe. He's no longer here to defend himself. And I think he believes somebody has to. And so anytime he hears Kobe, it's like his brain is wired a certain way. It's like his eyes see a little bit of red and he just goes off. He can't stand the Kobe narratives, the lies. And who knows? I don't know if Kobe Bryant and Kyrie Irving would have been a good fit of playing together. I have no idea. I can't call it. Who knows what that would have turned out to be? Modern NBA players, they just don't have the work ethic that Kobe Bryant had. So I don't know what would have happened. Would Kyrie Irving maybe he would have been better. Maybe he would have had more game participation if he actually was drafted to the Lakers playing under Kobe Bryant. He said he would have loved that. He said that he would have loved to play under some of the guys that he loved the most. AKA, I didn't love LeBron and didn't want to play with him. And he's trying to be careful in his words, but I believe that it's Kobe Bryant that triggers Kyrie to have these rants. But is it going to be enough for him to expose LeBron James? That's the question. Is Kobe Bryant a trigger for Kyrie to expose LeBron James? That's the question that I have. I want to know what you guys think about it. So let me read some comments real quick. LaSoft James, for sure. Definitely soft. Bron fanboys, grab your tissue. salute to Tyler Rose TV, guys. If you haven't done so, head over to his channel and subscribe. He's got some pretty dope content over there. Really super cool dude. So go over there, watch, like, and subscribe. But back to whether or not Kobe Bryant is a trigger for Kyrie Irving. I just, man, I that's what I see, because every time he's saying something, it's surrounding Kobe Bryant. As of late, those have been the viral comments that he's been making. I know he also talked about being teammates with Kevin Durant. He mentioned that Kevin Durant was one of his favorite teammates to play with ever. So let's see. William Purdy, thank you for your comment. Kyrie should be pissed, but there was a time you wanted to rejoin this bum because you wanted more rings too. And yes, I wish he spoke up earlier. I wanted him to be furious about being pushed out of Cleveland. So I think that he wanted to rejoin LeBron, not because he wanted more rings, because he was about to not be able to get a job in the NBA. The tweet that he made with that documentary with the, anti-Semitic tropes in it, he didn't say anything anti-Semitic. He tweeted a documentary that had pieces of anti-Semitic tropes in it. And this spiraled throughout the NBA. And the Nets ownership turned their back on him. Adam Silver was ready to completely just exile him from the league. And he was almost fired with no ability to return. So I don't think it was about rings. I think that LeBron James was his lifeline to securing another contract, to continuing his career in the NBA. And I think that he had to play nice with LeBron. I think he had to make up with LeBron. I think he had to go crawling back on his knees. And that's not a very good place to be. It's just not. Anybody that has to kiss ass or, get down on hand and knee for any man, that's not a good feeling. Okay? So Kyrie Irving, he's finally off his knees. He's in Dallas. Okay. He's in Dallas doing his thing, balling, being a leader on that team. But the point of that video is that he really was the first option in Cleveland. That's what he was drafted there to do. He was the leader on that team. And no, they weren't successful. But here comes LeBron James bursting his bubble, taking his shine as the number one. And he's all of a sudden got a shift to be a number two to LeBron James. I don't think he wanted to do that at any point. To turn around, hit the game-winning shot in the NBA Finals, and you don't even get credit. It's all about LeBron. That is pretty whack. It's awful. So I hear you. He did want to rejoin him, but not for that reason. And when we talk about why Kyrie is waiting so long to expose LeBron or to say what he wants to say, I mean, there's other supporting evidence that backs it up as to why. So many people have a problem with LeBron James. So many people's careers and lives have been ruined as a result of running into LeBron and crossing hairs with him. And you don't want to cross wires with him in Clutch Sports and Rich Paul. You just don't. There's consequences for it. Big consequences. And Stephen A. Smith, he returned to Gils Arena and he kind of alluded to some of the things that Kyrie Irving was saying. And I don't really pull too much content from Gils Arena anymore, or from Stephen A. Smith as much. But I do think that, when he got up there talking about why he doesn't like LeBron James, he alluded to some of the things that Kyrie is also inferring, but not willing to say. He's just not willing to say it. Right? And so Stephen A. Snitch goes back to Gils Arena for, a fiery appearance. He talks about Kobe Bryant. He completely embarrasses himself on there by, literally giving some ridiculous reasons why LeBron James is better than Kobe Bryant, saying things that were untrue, saying things that have no relevance to the discussion. But he also gets up there and talks about why he still hates LeBron James. And I want us to listen and watch together, and we'll react. I want to hear from you guys what you think as well. But I want to know specifically, what do you guys think that Stephen A. Snitch is telling us in between the lines? To me, that's really more important. But this video, this is the supporting evidence to what Kyrie Irving just said. And if you notice, it's just more and more people coming out about LeBron James, and he hasn't even retired yet. So what's going to happen when he does finally hang it up? But here's Stephen A. on Gils Arena.
So when you were in the arena earlier this year, talked about a situation with you and Bron in regard to some comments you made about him and Bronny.
Yep.
You spoke at length about it. Bron went on Pat McAfee's show, also addressed the situation. But I got to know now, as it stands, what's the situation with you and LeBron, and what's the relationship like?
There's no situation. There's no relationship. He doesn't like me, and I don't like him.
Still, can we mediate? Can we increase the
There's
fee?
nobody that can mediate.
Okay.
It's okay. I would tell you that what I won't do is spend time the one thing that I would like to say is that I don't talk about him unless I'm asked. Now, some people say, well, why are you talking about him? Because I was asked. And this is what I do for a living. So how the hell am I going to get away with saying no comment? That doesn't work coming from Stephen A. It might work coming from somebody else. That work coming from me. But I have no desire to talk about him at all. He is, in my mind, the second greatest player in the history of basketball, who is a 4-time champion, a 4-time league MVP, has been an incredible ambassador for the game of basketball. His respect has been earned, not given. And nobody can deny that. But that's the basketball player, not the man. And all I would say is people don't know the things that have happened behind the scenes, things that have been said, who they've been said to, the kind of things that have been engaged in an effort to hurt me, along with contemporaries and others. There's a lot of shit that I know that I don't say. And there's a reason that I feel the way that I do. And the last straw was him approaching me and turning the Bronny thing into something about me attacking somebody's family when it was him I was talking about, not Bronny. And then to go on the Pat McAfee show, which comes directly on after my show on the channel that I work on, to insult me. Now, people could get into all kind of components that come with it and all of that other stuff. I have nothing to say. I'm a professional. I represent ESPN. I now represent SiriusXM. But most importantly, I represent myself. And I'm never going to denigrate any employer, any partner, or myself by getting into anything excessively, unnecessarily when it comes to him or anybody else. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to cover the game of basketball. But if I never, ever speak to him again in life, that will be okay. And I'm good with it. And that doesn't, and I want to say, I'm not encouraging anybody else to feel that way about him. His peeps, other people that have a relationship with him, players, executives, coaches, all that stuff. This is me and him. I don't want to influence anybody else's opinion about him. But if we never speak again in life, me and him, I am perfectly fine with that. But I'm man enough where if he ever wanted to speak to me, I would. But it wouldn't be the most pleasant conversation, at least initially. And that's just where I stand with it, meaning no disrespect. But there's a lot of things that have happened that he don't know I know. And that was the final straw. So that's where I'm at with it. People can take whatever they want to or whatever, but I'm not playing. I'm dead serious. It was a lot has happened. And those 2 moments was the last straw. And that's where I'm at.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's any skin off LeBron James' back that Stephen A. doesn't care to talk to him. But, salute to Stephen A. Snitch for saying, hey, I'm standing on business. I don't like LeBron James. He doesn't like me. That's not going to change. It's because of the person that he is. It's not even just because of what he did. It's because of what I know about him. It's just that we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, right? Us NBA fans, us, regular people that wake up every day and just go to our 9 to 5, and we're just trying to figure out different ways to make it. Stephen A. knows and has access to information that we just don't, and I think we can speculate all day, but the bottom line is there's something nefarious going on with LeBron James and Clutch Sports. And I don't believe that he's the best person. I don't believe that he's this wonderful human being, LeBron James. I don't know what kind of husband and father he is. I know it looks good. I know that him and Savannah look great together, but what I also know is that he's ruined plenty of lives in the NBA of players. Look at Russell Westbrook. Take a look at Isaiah Thomas. Nobody even remembers him. He had a career and then instantly did not soon after playing alongside LeBron James. Multiple people. Lives have been just torpedoed as a result of playing alongside him. And it's just truly unfortunate. I mean, even take a look at Dwayne Wade. His legacy is just not being revered the way that it should be as a result of playing alongside LeBron James. So, Stephen A. Smith, I think there is going to be some sort of expose. I just wonder if the machine around LeBron is just so afraid that he's going to retire, afraid for him to retire because there's going to be some sort of, heinous allegations that come out. I think that when LeBron retires, only more and more things are going to be exposed about him. More and more people are going to come out because they're not afraid anymore to lose their job. I mean, I just think that Stephen A., I think other folks, they can't even call LeBron James out the way they want to, because it's almost like you're ruining Santa Claus, right? When you were a kid and you believed in Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy, and then all of a sudden when you didn't, it was this huge disappointment. It's kind of like if an election was fixed, the American public can't actually know something like that. Imagine what this would do to our country if something like that were actually, proven to be a fact. So, I think that if LeBron James were to be potentially exposed to PEDs, exposed about PEDs or PEDs use or some sort of, other heinous allegation, I just think that it could potentially have this dark cloud over the NBA. And that's what people are so afraid of. I think that that's what members of the media are afraid of. I think that that's what high-ranking officials in the NBA are afraid of. And so I think that, they're trying to push him out. They're doing everything they can do to push him out so that they can either figure out if he's going to be exposed or, what's the next step for the NBA and how do they get past LeBron James? So if he's refusing to retire, I could see him getting exposed in a major way because they just want him gone. They want to pump him up to bring him down because he won't leave. He got too big for his britches, or he's trying to use his power for bad. And sometimes, when you get too power hungry and you want to come up too high, somebody at the top just doesn't want to see that happen. So, we'll see. I think that Stephen A. Snitch is preparing us for something big that can come down the pipe about LeBron James, and and he's just getting ready. I think that Stephen A. Snitch is going to be the one to have the last laugh in this situation for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just a feeling that I have. And he talked about on Gils Arena waking up every day, making sure that he doesn't do anything to jeopardize his job or, potentially getting canceled, basically. But that's what I have for that Gils Arena segment, guys. I want to pivot to our next topic of the evening, where we get into some comments that were made by Stacy King. He has a really cool podcast that I really enjoy. I think it's called like Gimme the Hot Sauce. And I think it's super cute. He loves all sports. Stacy King was Michael Jordan's teammate. He won 3 titles with him. And he has some pretty good commentary on his podcast. Go ahead and check him out on Give Me the Hot Sauce or Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. And basically, he torched LeBron James. I mean, he absolutely ethered Kevin Durant and LeBron James surrounding their mind the game comments. He was just disgusted by them. He really spared no punches. I'm just going to jump right in and play this clip for you. It's a little lengthy, but he made just point after point after point. My gosh, Stacey King absolutely cooked. Okay. And I wanna play this first clip for you. The first one, it basically it surrounds some criticism around LeBron's podcast, Mind the Game, and just sort of like how today's players talk about themselves. And it's cringeworthy at best, but Stacy King dives into that. And so I want to play this video for you guys, and I want to hear what you think, and we're gonna talk about it together. Here's the first one.
One other NBA topic, LeBron and KD and Steve Nash did their little podcast thing, and they always drag the legacy
What
of
is it
Michael
called?
Jordan.
Is it called? Was it Cry Me a River?
Cry Me a River. I think
Cry Me
that's
a River
called,
podcast?
yeah.
Oh, my God. I tell you what, man, listen. I was watching that.
Revisionist history, they should call it.
Yeah, you know what, Mark? Great players don't have to tell people they're great.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
true.
let fans do that. You let people debate it on talk radio and podcasts. Players don't have to do that. That we all know you're great. You don't have to tell us. When you have to go around trumpeting that you're great and what separates you from all the other people that makes you greater than them, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's why I say it's a Cry Me a River podcast, because you're crying and moaning about what they said, and they were kind of sneak dissing MJ.
Yeah.
If you really listen between the lines, they were talking about. Kevin Durant was talking about how longevity is more important than rings and all that other stuff. Being in the league basically for 20 plus years shows the dedication and the hard work that you had to do to stay here. But he failed to mention, the load management and this guy only playing in no more than 3 times in his career, 82 games in a season.
Yeah, right.
LeBron's only played 1 time 82 games in a season. MJ 9 times in his career played 82 games, plus playoffs and championships. It goes into 115 games. So to listen to these guys discredit the former players and how great they were to basically step on top of them to get themselves higher is really sad. You should, first of all, don't even compare eras, because there's 2 different eras. Okay. But if you want to compare anything, compare the body of work. Forget eras, but the body of work. Same amount of games, same travel, same stay in hotels, all that's equal. What did you do in the time that you were here? What did you do? How many championships you won? Because Kevin Durant wants to be one of the great players.
Right.
He wants to be considered a go-to, okay? And I love Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is a phenomenal player, but you don't win any championships if it wasn't with Steph Curry. See, you could always say, well, Golden State didn't win anything until I got there. That's not the case. Golden State won before you got there, and then they won afterwards. So you can't say you were the difference maker. Steph Curry sacrificed his game when Kevin Durant was there to say, hey, do you, man. You be the guy. I'm not even going to be – I'll just step back, hit open shots from them. He didn't care about that. He just wanted to win. Kevin Durant's ego got so big from the fact that everybody was saying, oh, you couldn't win unless you go to Golden State. You couldn't beat Golden State, so you had to join them. So his ego was so big, he leaves Golden State. And it wasn't just because of the Draymond Green situation. That was some of it when Draymond Green snapped at him on the bench.
Yes.
That was some of it. But the majority of it is he wanted to show people he could get his own team like LeBron.
Create his own team with Kyrie and go win.
And I can go win. And how'd that work out for you? You did it in Brooklyn, failed miserably. You went to Phoenix, failed. Didn't even make the playing game in Phoenix. So you're not on that level. LeBron can still say he's on that level.
Well, he always changes. He moves the target.
Yes. The goalposts always move.
Yeah. One time it's about how many championships you won. Next time, rings don't matter.
Rings don't matter.
Yeah.
But I remember distinctly when you're going to Miami, was it not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, all the way to 8. Okay. Yeah. Listen. At the end of the day, you will never be able to discredit, what Bill Russell did. Guys who have won more than 1 championship, you can never discredit that. Right. To sit up here and just try to tear down Michael Jordan's legacy, talking about, he left to go play baseball. Some guys went to go play baseball. See, if you knew your history, you know exactly why he left. That was a dream his father wanted him to do. That guy was mourning the death of his father. Okay. We were all part of that. I remember where I was when I got the news. We were playing a celebrity softball game at Comiskey against Michael Bolton. His travel softball team was for charity. And Mr. Jordan didn't show up, which was unheard of. And I remember flying off to Hawaii to go to Pete Newell's big man's camp. And I'm looking at the news and I saw that he was murdered. And that's the reason why he didn't show up. Michael was devastated. Everybody was devastated. and him and his dad were super close, you know. And so to sit up there and say the guy left to go play baseball, but you failed to mention the guy left as the greatest player before he left. Nobody was beating him when he was here.
Right.
He went away for almost 2 years and came back and took everything back that someone else took, and y'all didn't win again. So you didn't say that. But they're just, oh, well, he went to go play. You know, he didn't play 20 years. Da, da, da. Come on, bro. If he played 20 years, Kareem's record would have been broken by now.
We all know that Michael Jordan didn't play for stats. We know he wasn't playing for the scoring record. We knew that. He said very early in his career, I'm chasing magic. That's the guy that I'm trying to eclipse. He wasn't worried about Kareem. He wasn't worried about Wilt Chamberlain, guys that weren't in front of him. He was focused on Magic Johnson. He was focused on Isaiah Thomas, the competition in front of him. And so I think that Kevin Durant, that baseball comment that he made, it set a lot of people on fire, Stacy King included. I think that he really did not like those comments from LeBron James or Kevin Durant. And I mean, he went scorched earth on both of them, you know, even just saying like, hey, why do you even have to talk about yourself? Let fans do that. Let, you know, the media say how great you are. You don't need to do that. And then you have to go put down other people and diss the older generation. It was so funny how his podcast partner, I have no clue who that guy is, but he's just like, yeah, you know, their little podcasts where they just drag the 90s players into everything. It was just so funny to me. They have no respect for LeBron James and Kevin Durant. And guys, you can be a billionaire, a millionaire, you can have all this money and you could still be a lame. Don't forget that, guys. For all the men in the audience, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can still be a lame. Yes, money helps, okay? And you can get all the girls in the world with it, but you could still absolutely be a lame. Just take note of that, okay? And yeah, I mean, Stacy King, he cooked. He had no fear in his heart. He told the truth about LeBron James and Kevin Durant, and I can't blame him for his words. I agreed with most of his comments. The only thing that I don't think that LeBron is any better than Kevin Durant. That's where he lost me, because I'm just like, LeBron James had to leave his team in Cleveland to go and chase rings with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. He couldn't hack it. He couldn't win without going to Miami Heat. LeBron James can't hang his hat on anything, in my opinion. He's just as bad as Kevin Durant, if not worse. LeBron couldn't win without a guy from his same draft class that had to carry him to the finals and through the finals in 2011, and that was D. Wade, right? He couldn't win without D. Wade, Chris Bosh, Ray Allen, Mario Chalmers, and Shane Battier. He couldn't win without those guys. And, you know, a story that supports what I'm saying is there's something going around viral. It's Pat Riley's comments that he made way back in 2019. Okay. And it's been resurfacing. And as you guys know, or may have heard already, but Pat Riley has he said that LeBron James was nothing without the Miami Heat. He would be nothing without the Miami Heat and his time there and his experience, you know, on that team. And so I thought that was really interesting that he said that. I want to share this article where I saw this because it's, like I said, it's resurfaced again. And here we go. One moment. Yeah. Let's see. Can you guys see it? No, I can't see it yet. Hold on. Let me stop sharing. 1 second, guys. Bear with me. Should be there now. Okay, yes. Before he came to us, he was banging his head on the wall against the wall, Pat Riley says about LeBron James and how he was nothing before joining the Miami Heat. And so the article continues, and Before he came to us, he was banging his head against the wall, Pat Riley says. LeBron James was nothing before joining the Miami Heat, originally appearing on the Basketball Network. And these are comments that he made back in 2019. This was before he won the title in the bubble. This is what he said. LeBron James was the best player in Cleveland and one of the best in the league before he joined Miami. Yet, despite putting up monster stats, averaging 27.5 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 6.7 assists per game over 7 seasons, he had nothing to show for it in terms of championships. That reality stuck. He lost in NBA Finals with Cleveland and was viewed as a superstar who couldn't get it done when it mattered most. I still view him that way, guys. I don't know about you, but I don't view LeBron James as a guy who can get it done when it matters. He may or he may not, and likely he's not because he lost 6 out of 10 times. So Pat Riley, who had long been around winning and coaching the most successful superstars, knew exactly what the roadblock for James was. He says, quote, LeBron is a great player, but before he came to us, he was banging his head against the wall like all great players that can't win, Riley said in 2019. His first year in Miami was somewhat convoluted from the standpoint of chemistry. As much as those guys talked around it, you had 3 significant players who never really got on the same page. They never let it fester, but they never spoke about it the way they should have. Hey, keep it real. Take ownership and accountability. That's what it sounds like that Pat Riley is saying. The article continues, talent wasn't enough at first. 7 years in Cleveland as a hometown hero with no championships to show. The gutting playoff losses added up. He was easily neck and neck with Kobe Bryant as the most skilled player on earth, but Bryant had Paul Gasol. James had ... Yeah. James arrived in Miami expecting to win. The Heat finished the 2010-11 regular season with a 58-24 record, good enough for second in the East. But the playoffs exposed the truth. They got to the finals only to be embarrassed by the Dallas Mavericks, who played harder, smarter, and with better teamwork. Miami had the league's second best offense, but ranked 13 in defense. That defensive weakness came from a lack of cohesion and effort more than talent. James's numbers slipped a bit in Miami's first year. His true shooting percentage dropped from 57.6 to 56.8. In Cleveland to 56.8% with the Heat. Assists fell slightly from 7.0 to 6.8 per game. Those aren't huge drops, but they show he wasn't quite comfortable sharing the ball with Wade and Bosh, both of whom were used to leading their own teams. This star trio never hashed out their roles clearly, and it cost them in close games. The team lost 6 of their last 12 playoff games that year. Miami couldn't close out the series easily and fell apart in the finals. Especially late in games, the stars were out of sync. That kind of chemistry problem can kill teams no matter how talented they are. LeBron was no different. He had all the skills but lacked the right team and structure. How Miami changed him. After that crushing loss, things changed. Riley and coach Eric Spoelstra forced the team to focus on defense and communication. James adjusted his game, learning to lead and share responsibility instead of dominating the ball. The difference was clear. Miami won back-to-back titles in 2012 and 2013. During those runs, the best player in the world's efficiency jumped. His true shooting percentage rose from 59.9% in 2012 to 60.3% in 2013. He averaged more than 27 points and 7 assists per game both years. His finals record flipped from 0-1 with Cleveland to 2-2 with Miami. When he went back to Cleveland in 2014, he was a more mature leader who knew how to win. That experience helped him deliver Cleveland's first ever NBA championship in 2016, ending a 52-year drought. Riley's comment that James was banging his head against the wall isn't an exaggeration. Without the right pieces, coaching, and chemistry, even the most talented players hit a ceiling. The 4-time MVP needed Miami to break through the barrier. The Heat gave him the environment and culture necessary to turn talent into championships. Pat Riley spoke the truth, guys. That's, as far as I'm concerned, he spoke the truth. Pat Riley, he doesn't mince his words. He doesn't lie when he's asked the question about LeBron James. Sometimes he might try to be a little nice, but he keeps it real about LeBron's time in Miami and what Miami was able to do for him. And he wants to make sure that LeBron James never forgets it. because he went on a PR tour stating that I didn't need the Miami Heat. I'd still be this LeBron James. I'd still have titles, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think so. You didn't know how to win. You had to learn how to win from Dwayne Wade, the big homie. He was your big homie. He was the number one option. That was Wade County. A king went to his castle. A king went to another king's castle. Can you believe that? LeBron James isn't the GOAT, guys. This just in, if you didn't know. So with that said, Stacy King, he really cooked on this podcast, okay? He didn't just make those comments about mind the game. He really got into why Michael Jordan is the GOAT and why it's going to remain that way. And I want to talk about that with you guys. I think this is an important discussion to have. And salute to Mel and Man Down Sports. They actually talked about, whether or not Michael Jordan would be considered the GOAT forever until the test of time. And, I don't know. I don't believe in the GOAT in sports and team sports, really. I only believe in GOAT for tennis, golf, boxing, individual, players. I don't believe in it for team sports, but we continue to talk about the GOAT. The GOAT debate isn't going away. And, Stacy King gets into the GOAT debate and how he feels about it. And I want you guys to hear what he has to say. I'm curious if, one second, do I have the right, looks like I might not have. Oh, yes, here it is. So, the question really is, will Michael Jordan be the GOAT forever? I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. I do think that Michael Jordan is going to be considered the GOAT for a long time to come. That's for sure. I don't think it's ever going to be LeBron James, not unanimously, not undisputed. LeBron James is not going to be considered the GOAT of his own generation. So of all time is crazy. The GOAT of this current modern NBA is probably going to be Steph Curry. It's definitely not LeBron James. He didn't do enough to change the league, to influence the league as far as basketball is concerned. Most of his influence was all negative. But let's get into this next Stacy King clip. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys do as well. And we are going to react together.
It's funny that you mentioned the whole Jordan career with the Bulls. Last Monday it was like 100 degrees outside, and I'm like, I ain't doing anything. I'm just gonna sit, chill in the house. And ESPN News ran the whole Last Dance, so I'm sitting there watching this. I'm watching the whole thing, and you forget how good that show was. So well produced, so much information behind the scenes, and it's so funny hearing your former teammates talking about Jordan and how tough he was on guys in practice, and you call him a bully, and you've told stories punching guys in practice. He was a tyrant to play with, but he also wanted, like he said in the documentary, that I wanted all these guys to share in that success, and I wanted to pull them with me. And if you can't take it, then you can't play with him.
See, here's the thing that people don't understand about Michael, and to play with him, you have to understand this. Michael is the hardest working guy I've ever seen in my life. Okay, he approached practice like it was game situation. Nobody I've ever played with or played in the same team with practice as hard as Michael Jordan. And you ask any teammate all the way down the line, they would tell you he's the hardest working guy. First one in sprints, first one in drills, always beating everybody in the drills. Very competitive. The same things you see him in the game doing, he's doing it in practice to us. So younger players going up against us every day, you're getting the best Michael Jordan every day. You're getting the best Scottie Pippen every day. These are all-star caliber guys. So then when you go into a regular season game, and we're playing against the New York Knicks or Utah Jazz with all these star players, it doesn't faze us because we're going up against the best, and they're giving us their best every day to prepare us for what we're going to see during the regular season. That's why we won.
And now teams barely practice.
Teams barely practice, and then they complain about the season's too long. And it's just like, listen, man, you got to understand, most of us come from families where our parents had to work 2 or 3 jobs to get us to where we are today. Okay. We didn't have the money. I know my family didn't have the money to send me all these camps and stuff. My mom and dad had to stretch money and maybe go without things to get us to where we need to go. Okay. So it would be a disservice to anyone who didn't remember what their parents did to get them there. It'd be a disservice to them if you cut corners and you didn't work as hard as them and have the work ethic that they had. It's a slap in their face. And I think, these kids have to understand there's people come to these games and they want to see Michael Jordan. They want to see, Durant. They want to see LeBron James. This might be the only time they're able to see him. And they come to see the one game where you decide to have load management. You know, even if Michael never did that. Michael never set out games. If Michael set out a game, he made sure he played at least 25 minutes so you saw him play. Whether it be preseason, he didn't miss any regular season games. But during preseason where most stars sit out, he played. I mean, we played in Lincoln, Nebraska. We played in Sioux Falls, South. We played in some small venues to get the people who may not be able to get to a big city to see us. We go into those places and play. And most star players are not playing in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm sitting out. You know, Michael would play first and third quarter, 24 minutes to let people see, because he recognized, and Kobe's the same way, that this might be the only time that they're able to afford to see me play. And I want to make sure I put on a show. These guys nowadays, they don't look at it that way. The fans pay these enormous, these crazy salaries. The fans, you owe the fans everything you got. And I mean, you do. Baseball, football, you owe fans to go out there and put an honest day's work out there. If you can play, you're not hurt, you owe it to fans to go out there and show, that your appreciation for them. Now, you get into this all talk radio, who cares about all that stuff? But I'm talking about the people who don't have the money to go see a game and can't afford to see a game live. When they come to see you play, and their kids are all excited, it's the only time they see the Lakers play in Chicago, because you only come here once. Well, LeBron's out. He's sitting out. Load management. That has demoralized. And that was a lot of money. Those tickets are expensive to see the Lakers. Yeah. So he doesn't show up. Your kid's disappointed. He's not signing autographs, not taking pictures. He's on the bench eating a hot dog and leaving. And it's a disappointment. You saved up all that money for that one game, and that guy didn't show up.
Yeah, and in rewatching Last Dance, watching Scottie Pippen in Game 6 in 1998, he basically was crippled with those back spasms and gutting it out, and they were able to pull it out with the greatest sequence of all time with Jordan with the bucket, the steal of Karl Malone, and the jumper over Brian Russell. So that was just fun to watch it again. And when you go back to the argument, the whole GOAT argument, Bulls 6-0 in the finals and never taken to a seventh game.
And it's funny because you listen to all these LeBron, loyalists. LeBron never beat Larry. I mean, Michael never beat Larry Bird and never beat Isaiah. Well, no, he didn't beat them his first 6 or 7 years in the league. He had to get a team around him to be able to challenge those guys. And when he did, he beat them. Of course, the Celtics were older, and we didn't have to play them in the series. It was always Detroit and Boston playing each other. But our series was Cleveland and New York and Detroit. Those are the teams we had to beat. And once we got through those teams, like who's gonna mess with you? Because we could have easily beat Detroit like we did and swept them, 91, and then went out there and let the Lakers, run roughshod over us. But it didn't happen. Lakers come in and steal game one, didn't win another one.
It was funny. Some of the best parts of the documentary are when they hand the iPad over to Michael to see what other people said. Yeah, and Isaiah Thomas trying to justify walking off after getting swept, and he's just cackling. And then Gary Payton saying, well, if I would have been defending him in 96, that would have been a whole different series. And he goes, yeah, the glove. And he just laughs at
and listen, Gary Payton, the only way you're going to be able to guard Michael Jordan if you kidnapped him before he left his house and you had 10 people with you, tied him up, and he wasn't able to go to the game. That's the only way you're going to guard him, because nobody was guarding MJ during that time. Nobody. And when he gets to the NBA Finals, listen, here's the argument right here. If you got one person to take the game-winning shot out of LeBron and Michael, who you going to bet on? Who you going to bet on?
Michael all the time.
I guarantee you. Listen, I also say this too. This tells you the popularity of a player. You don't see people walking around LeBron's shoes.
Right.
Michael Jordan's shoes outsells all superstar players combined. That's how he's still relevant in this league. And that Last Dance documentary only really solidified him on another level. I always tell people, you want to see Michael pre-championships, go watch the video, Come Fly With Me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
If you want to see a very young Michael's first 6 or 7 years in the league and see how dominant he was, his third game, I saw a video the other day. Third game of his NBA career, he's going up against the Defensive Player of the Year, Sidney Moncrief in Milwaukee, and gave him like 38. Yeah. Third game,
average 38.
Third game as a rookie, he gave the defensive player consensus, defensive player, all defensive guard, Sidney Moncrief. Do your homework. Sidney Moncrief was no joke defensively.
Right.
Gave him 38, third game of the year.
Yeah. If you get a chance, go back and rewatch it. It is just
Come
fantastic.
Fly With Me, America. That's your homework. Go watch. Don't forget The Last Dance. You already saw it. If you want to see Michael, a young Michael, that's when I saw him in college. That's when I became a huge fan of Come Fly With Me. Go watch Come Fly With Me.
Definitely. Check that out.
Stacy King cooked. Okay. LeBarb's fans, I don't know what they're gonna do. They're on the run. That what's the response? How do LeBron James fans reconcile all of that? How do modern day NBA players reconcile a take like that? What can you say to that? Michael Jordan didn't take off games, and he wanted to play for the fans. He loved the fans. And, when you think about who allows for NBA players to make all the money they make, it's the fans. But they can't show up for us. They can't even make it to an all-star game. They can't play 50 games even. It's a chore for them to make it to 65 games. Stacy King said a lot. He said a whole lot. He talked about Michael Jordan's influence, his brand influence, and just how much of a staple he is. When you think about it, Michael Jordan, people have been wearing, I mean, when he was in the league, his sneakers were hot when he was playing. Since he's been retired, nobody stopped wearing them. We've only immortalized them, and Michael Jordan even more. The Last Dance documentary, I think it was something that solidified Jordan as the GOAT. It just made folks, young kids today, see that what we're watching today is nothing in comparison to what we saw in the 90s. It's nothing in comparison to what we saw Michael Jordan do, and what we just haven't been able to see anybody else duplicate, unfortunately. And so, the question is, will Michael Jordan be the GOAT forever? I think yes. I think Michael Jordan's going to be the GOAT forever, guys. I really do. And something that I just think that really separates Michael Jordan from any of the NBA players today is one, that he loved the game. His true love for the game. He was willing to lace up anywhere and play. He wanted the smoke. He never ducked a competition. He loved it. He loved the sport so much. He would play in the summer. He played in preseason games. Guys don't do that anymore. They're too much of a diva. They're too good to do it. At this point in my career, I shouldn't be playing in preseason games. I shouldn't even be there. LeBron James not only does he not want to play in a preseason game, God forbid he did that, he doesn't even want to show up to support the team. He calls himself a good guy for sitting on the side supporting the young guys, for supporting his team, for supporting his franchise. Oh no, he shouldn't even be there at this point in his career. When are we going to pack these guys up? When are we going to pack these players up? But Michael Jordan, his presence, his stature, his personality, he was class personified. Him, Dr. J, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, they were so classy as far as how they speak to the media, as far as how they carry themselves and talk about former NBA players and just their league in general. They have so much respect for other NBA players, and you don't see that anymore. Gone are the days where you pay homage. Gone are the days where you respect those that came before you. That's not happening anymore. Older generation isn't getting any credit for what they've been able to do for guys today. It's just not happening. And Michael Jordan, he had so much respect. He revered the players that came before him so much. He didn't miss a chance to congratulate them, give them credit, to make sure that everybody knew there would never be a Michael Jordan if there weren't those that came before him that paved the way so that he could be more entertaining, so that he could become a global star. He owes that to those that had to struggle even harder than he did. And he doesn't forget to share that. In 1999, after Michael Jordan retired the second time, which, I thought that was going to be his final time, he got an award from Sports Illustrated. He got the Basketball Player of the Century, not of the decade, the century. And when he won this award, he had a speech that I'm not going to lie, when I saw it, it made me think of Colin Cowherd and how he said that Michael Jordan makes you feel things. I'm not going to lie, guys, when I saw this clip, I teared up a little bit because it made me feel so proud. It made me feel proud that I was able to grow up during a time where I got to see really great basketball. And it just made me feel grateful, and it made me just think, okay, this is just one of the reasons why Michael Jordan is going to be cemented in the hearts of NBA fans and of, in the fraternity of the league. And so here's this short speech that he had accepting this Player of the Century award. And I want you guys to hear it. We'll react together. But, this is just a small reason why I think that Michael Jordan is going to be the GOAT forever, minus the shoes and his actual accomplishments and play on the court. I mean, just look at him.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
good to be back in the Garden. Always good to be in the Garden. Thank you very much. I expected that as well. That means I did my job well when I came here. I would be remiss not to thank all the other recipients tonight, all the nominees. It's truly a privilege for me to be here. But when you see Michael Jordan, I'm the product of modern basketball, modern technology. But all the great achievements comes from Oscar Robertson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Bob Cousy, all these athletes, all the basketball players way before Michael Jordan. I just got the fruit of the labor, I guess. I learned so much from these guys watching them, and I've kind of gained more of the publicity and more of the notoriety because of me learning from what they have done years way before me. And I want to give them the proper respect and a thank you for allowing me to do my job the way I did my job. Thank you very much.
I love that video. You see the old heads in the crowd. You see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You see Bill Russell, and it's so special. And Michael Jordan, he was a classy guy. Athletes, a lot of times you want your play and you want your talent to speak for itself, and you want others to talk about you. You want others to recognize you. And especially in a team sport, I just don't think there's really any true place for the GOAT discussion. But I just thought that it was really interesting that Michael Jordan was even gracious to New York fans. Michael Jordan, he just has this level of genuine authenticity that people really enjoy. I mean, even his bald head. I mean, he had one of the most beautiful bald heads that we've ever seen. He made NBA players across the league go bald. LeBron James is out here rocking a lace front wig. It's just, they are not the same. Okay, there's levels to this. And Michael Jordan, you just see him standing there, and he's so humble and he's so shy to accept that award. And he looks so handsome in that suit, and he's, just really, he's giving credit. He's standing there taking acceptance of an award of being the player of the century. And he's still giving credit to everybody else because he knows he wouldn't have been standing there without those guys. And he's grateful for that. And, I thought it was so funny, even when the New York City fans were booing him because, he's Michael Jordan, he's done some damage in the Garden. And even that moment was humbling for him. And he's even gracious to the New York fans. So, I agree that Michael Jordan is likely to be the GOAT forever. If we're going to continue to have this conversation for as long as it continues, I think that he's going to be the GOAT. Rookie Kobe came in bald like Mike. Froby was trying to be his own man. I'm weak. You guys are so funny, man. I wear Jordans, Kobe's, and Penny Hardaway shoes. Labia shoes will probably have me flopping like I need 2 more free throws or something. Look how MJ dresses, speaks pure class. LeBum speaks and dressed like a homeless dude. I mean, it's apples and oranges. You see the very clear differences. Michael Jordan really, he set a standard for class in the NBA. And LeBron James just doesn't have any of that. He doesn't have the language skills. He didn't go to college. I know you guys saw one of my latest videos with Kenny the Jet Smith. He talked about how Michael Jordan was just so much better than everybody else because he went to college. He did 3 years in college. And, if he didn't, would he have had an even better career if he only did 1 year in college? If he came out into the NBA, maybe he would have done so much better. But I think that, LeBron James not having had any college, and I suspect he barely did any high school. When you're that good in sports, you typically have girls doing your homework, or the coach finds somebody to do your homework, and school isn't much of a focus for you because you don't need it. And I mean, that's why we see LeBron James not having the language skills or the reading skills of a 5th grader. His family, I think between the entire James family, they have less than 1 year of college education. So they're all kind of walking around with a lack of education. We know he doesn't read. We know he can't speak very well. A all, be all. He just doesn't have very good language and speech. So, Michael Jordan, he just shows up better in every turn. And he's just so much more aware. And the emotional intelligence is there. When I see and look at LeBron James, I just see somebody who's tone deaf. I see someone who has, no care in the world for the way that they are ruining the sport, the culture of the sport, and how we talk about it. So salute to Stacy King. I really love his podcast, and and how he's coming in, bringing the heat, speaking the truth, not being afraid to do that. He clearly has no skin in the game. He's just, he's an ex-teammate of Michael Jordan's, and he wants to not just stand on business, but he wants to make sure that people are remembering the sport in the right way, remembering the Bulls and their team and Michael Jordan the right way. And I don't blame him for wanting that. I don't blame him for wanting to right the wrongs and correct some of the, the lies and the narratives that have been put out there by LeBron James, Clutch Sports, and the La Media. So let's see. Salute to Beach Girl Carly. How are you doing? You would think LeBron James would have gone back to school to get a degree. SMH. You would think. I believe his wife did. I think Savannah went back to school. She might have a master's degree. I don't quote me on that. I could be thinking of someone else, but Kobe Bryant speaks 8 languages. He spoke 8 languages, I believe, and he didn't even go to college. And look how he spoke. Look how he carried himself. Even Kevin Garnett, I think he spoke and carries himself much better. But again, back then, and another thing that I think, we don't touch upon enough is that back then, they were real adults. Even coming into the league at 18, you were much more of a man than today's 18-year-old is. 18-year-olds back in the 90s or the 80s, they had to be men much earlier in their lives than today's 18, 19-year-old players are. I just think that, 18 and 19-year-olds back in the day, they saw much more, they went through much more. And they didn't have as many privileges and luxuries as today's 18, 19-year-olds are getting. So I just think we're in different times. I think that we had more masculine men as well back then. So today's men are carrying purses, wearing nail polish, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's just that we're seeing a lot more differences. We're seeing men tap into a more stylish, more what's typically considered to be feminine side. We see them with long hair. We see them dyeing their locks. I mean, it's just, we see a lot more focus and attention to appearance, things that are considered more feminine. And so, back then, like I said, we had more masculinity happening, and now we have a lot less of that. And so we're seeing guys that are just, they're just much different. The league is a lot different. And when you think about the things that LeBron James, Kevin Durant said on Mind the Game, when you think about the way that Michael Jordan talks about the players that came before him, even when they were dissing him, when Wilt Chamberlain was coming out saying he wasn't the greatest of all time, coming out there saying that they had to change the rules for him, saying that Michael Jordan would have been crushed in his era, Michael Jordan heard all of that. He used all of those narratives, all of that criticism that he was getting to just make himself better, to work harder, to get out there and win. He didn't have any excuses. He didn't try to clap back at them, because what was that going to do for him? What was that going to do for his game and where his career was headed? Nothing. All that he would have accomplished was talking back to the big homie, which you don't need to do. I mean, growing up in my household, it wasn't allowed for me to talk back to my parents or an elder, or to say something rude to them. So it's so off-putting when LeBron James, Kevin Durant, they have all this mouth and lip for guys who are way older than them and pave the way for them to be doing what they're doing now. And for some reason, they think that they're better than people because they have all this money, when really and truly they're still a lame. Kevin Durant is I don't know, does he have Asperger's or something? He's almost 40 years old. He's got no wife. You're a lame. That's what you are. Talking like this, behaving like this, all this money in your pocket, you want to sit there and act like you're better than other people. No, LeBron James, a billionaire lame. But so many people have been going viral this week surrounding comments around LeBron James. And, you know, Austin Rivers, man, I don't like Austin Rivers. I'll tell you that right now, guys. I don't like Austin Rivers. I don't know that I ever really have. I didn't have a problem with him when, you know, he was first coming up in the league. To me, there were much more I think that there are worse examples of nepotism in the league than Austin Rivers, although there was a point. So I think he earned his right to come into the league. I think that he earned his spot there. He was really good. He was an All-American. He was a lottery pick in the draft. So it wasn't like he was some bum out there. That wasn't the case. He's nowhere near Bronny James. But he's had his own podcast. He's done some work, I believe, on ESPN as well. And I know that you guys have heard what he said earlier this week about LeBron James and his scoring, right? And Austin Rivers, he's got a super hot take like every couple of months. And I'll be honest with you guys, he rubs me the wrong way. And like I said, he earned his spot in the league. I thought that he was good in high school, and he had some serviceable seasons in the league. However, you know, he said some things that just didn't sit right with me, like when he insulted NFL players by saying that he knew that, like, I think he said that 30 NBA players right now could come into the NFL right now, stating that, you know, it takes far more skill to be an NBA player. And I agree. It does take more skill to be, I think, an NBA player than it takes in football. But what football requires is resilience, grit, aggression. Those things are required to be in the NFL. And all of those things have been removed from the NBA. So I don't understand how these two sports are comparable at all. I didn't appreciate that whole conversation. I thought that Kendrick Perkins and Austin Rivers were way out of line for their disrespectful narrative to NFL players. And I honestly, I think they should have been checked even further for that. But, you know, there was another, I think it was, you know, you fast forward maybe a few weeks or even a few months after that, and Austin Rivers was saying that Caitlin Clark was like the Beyonce, and the rest of the players in the WNBA are like her backup dancers, which, you know, to me, it fed into the horrible idea that you don't actually have to be good to be recognized, that, you know, you can just be an influencer, or, you know, not have to actually perform and barely be a top 25 player in the WNBA and look like Screech from Saved by the Bell, or maybe even Stabler from SVU, and then somehow you're being called Beyonce. And then everybody else who's better than you and more skilled has, you know, better results and something to actually show for it, but those are somehow the backup dancers. So I found that take to be really stupid and offensive to, you know, the women in the WNBA, quite frankly. And I thought that Austin Rivers was disgraceful for saying that. And I think that, you know, the difference between him and Bronny is that he earned his spot in the league, but he didn't earn his right to stay in the league. He stayed way too long, and he was on the end of the Clippers bench when his dad was coaching for entirely too long as well. He didn't belong there. And you know, I think he was removed as soon as his father was as well. But anyway, Austin Rivers has yet another hot take where he gets into the irony of LeBron James being the all-time leading scorer, but not the actual best scorer we've ever seen. So I want us to watch it and react together. Austin Rivers, like I said, I just don't like the guy, but he happened to actually nail this one. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video for us, and we'll get into it.
Okay. So LeBron's number one, but his game doesn't match a prototypical scorer. It's also not sexy. LeBron's game is built on.
That's why no one puts him right into that.
LeBron's game is built on force, sheer will, dedication, his mind, his IQ, the way he's able to dissect and control a game. power above anything else. He wills himself to the basket. Now, as he's gotten older, you got to give the guy credit. He's become a better and better and better jump shooter. It's crazy. He's going to retire probably being the best jump shooter he's ever been. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you got to give credit to his work ethic. You don't do that by not getting in the lab. But his game has never been a sexy score. When you think of that, you think of the fadeaway. You think of the post up. You think of, mid range for one. Being able to get to a spot on the floor and hit a game winner. Bag work. That's what people prototypically put. That's why, like James Harden, you think of him going to ISO, twin his legs 2 or 3 times. So it's a complicated thing to talk about, because are we talking about results or are we talking about the aesthetic? Yeah. Because if we're talking results, LeBron scored more than anybody, guys. All right. If you're talking about the aesthetic, then you're going to go off someone that looks like they're a more polished scorer, who's more skilled on the offensive scoring side. For instance, LeBron has scored more points than Kevin. Kevin can score in a much more variety of ways than LeBron. Yeah. You can argue with the wall, but that's just the truth. LeBron doesn't have half the offensive bag that Kevin has. But LeBron has been so dominant at the things he does do offensively, he hasn't needed it. He's been a freight train his whole entire career. You know what I mean? Karl Malone wasn't doing it and out crossover step backs, but he's all time. He's up there too. He's like 3rd or 3rd or 4th on the scoring list. Right. So if it shows if you're really great at one thing, Kareem had a hook shot, had a shot you couldn't block, then you can score a lot of points. Does that make you the best scorer of all time? I don't agree with that. No.
Yeah. What LeBron and Kevin have over, let's say, Kobe and MJ was the efficiency part of it. I saw a stat that Kevin hasn't led his team in shot attempts since 2018. That's great. Kevin has not led his team in shot attempts.
My only problem with that is the evolution of the game has really brought up the importance of analytics and percentages. Not to say they didn't matter before, but they just didn't as much. All right. Our whole game now is predicated off numbers, whereas before it was an eye test thing. People didn't care that Iverson would have 30 on 30 shots. They're like, man, Iverson was dominant tonight. Now, if you do that, you get crucified for it. They'd be like, man.
Yeah, like remember Kobe in 2010 against your Pops, Game 7? I think it was like 8 for 25 from the field, but they won. Obviously, they won, so that overshot everything. But you didn't hear a lot of criticism of like he got carried to a title. Like if that was today.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
And that's where,
they came up with these analytics, and the reason why analytics is so important is because of LeBron James and all of the excuses that, he needs to be given, all because he's just not the GOAT. So analytics is, I think that they're great. So I think that analytics is cool. I think it's something that, you can definitely use, but it's in addition to what we see. So analytics, the data just backs up what we see. So when we take a look at a box score, to me, you watch the game, and when you take a look at the box score, it should really sort of just confirm what you've watched. It tells a story, but it doesn't tell the whole story. And that's what people that's what people fail to realize most times, is that data is great, but it's not the only thing. And the data doesn't account for intangibles. The data doesn't account for, you bricking a shot at the NBA. I'm sorry, at the last moment. It just doesn't. If you made all the shots before that, but you just can't hit one when it matters the most, data doesn't necessarily show that. And I mean, I know that we now have a stat for game-winning shots. We have a stat for go-ahead shots. We have a stat for clutch shots. Like we're tracking these things now, but it wasn't something that we did before. Yes, and I think that it helps and it hurts, because when we make everything about stats, we are very dismissive of. We're dismissive of the time when we didn't care about it as much. And funny enough, we didn't always talk about Wilt Chamberlain stats, but we talk about LeBron stats, and we all know whose stats are better. But again, it seems that the stats are only important when we're talking about LeBron. The analytics are only important when we're talking about LeBron. But Austin Rivers, I want to ask you guys, do you think that Austin Rivers is clout chasing, speaking facts, or both? So before I read what you guys think, I'm going to say I think that it's both. I think that every couple of months he's got a super duper hot take, goes extremely viral. And I do think he likes the clout chase. I think that he enjoys having a hot take at the expense of somebody or a group of people. And I think that he is speaking facts. LeBron James is, I think when you take a look at the top 10 scorers of all time in the NBA, it doesn't actually match. When I take a look, like, do I think that they are the greatest scorer of all time? I never thought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the greatest scorer of all time. I just thought he had the most points because of his unstoppable shot. I think that he is a contender for the GOAT in that GOAT conversation because he had an unguardable move. The sky hook, unstoppable. You still can't stop that shot. when I see Brittany Griner do it in the WNBA, it's still unstoppable. She used it in the Olympics. She's used it throughout her career, and it works. And people don't talk about it enough. People don't do it enough is because it's just not as sexy of a move. That's the truth. So, when we talk about Karl Malone, yeah, he was brawny, but he was a guy, his game I think was built on brawn. He was a big man, but no one could stop him. And he's one of the greatest scorers. Like he's on the all-time scoring list, but when you watch him, could he score at multiple levels? No, but he was a great scorer in his role as a big man in that position. So to me, even when I take a look at Dirk Nowitzki, I just don't view these guys. When I take a look at the list, I'm like, okay, the points are there, the total is there, and I see that. But when I think about the greatest scorers of all time, I think about those who have a variety of scoring in their repertoire. And the top, when I take a look at that top 10 scoring list, Michael, Kobe, those are guys that have that. But there's just LeBron James is a put your head down and just bum rush the basket. And quite frankly, I don't know that he would have as many points if the refs did not allow those constant offensive fouls. Every time he drives the lane, it's pretty much an offensive foul. Just bum rushing the lane, that's your game. I mean, anybody could have done that, from the inception of basketball to now. So I don't understand why we've made it a situation where LeBron James is somehow the greatest scorer because he bum rushes the lane. I've never heard of that in my whole life. But LeBron James fans, LeBron James, Clutch Sports, they'll say anything. And, I want to take you guys back. A couple of weeks ago, I covered this and I thought it was so funny. And I really miss Paul Pierce on the air already. Honestly, I hope that he can, push out a little bit more content, whether it be on his own or he's rehired quickly. I don't think that he deserved to get swept up in the Joy Taylor, Emmanuel Acho nonsense. And so, but he talked about himself being considered the greatest scorer. And I know I laughed, I joked about it, but here's what he said as well. And I want to replay this for you guys. It's very short, but here it is.
I can score in more ways than I like. Paul Pierce or Kevin Durant? That's close to two. I think I got a little more post game than Kev. We got a lot of the same arsenal. Paul Pierce or Steph Curry? Oh yeah, I can do more offensively. Paul Pierce or James Harden? My midi is better than James. Post game is better than James. Even on threes, going to the rack. Paul Pierce or T-Mac? Now that one was close. Wow. Man, T-Mac is amazing. He can post up. He can do a lot of things down screen, off the dribble. Damn. I got to the line more than I'll take him. Last one, Paul Pierce or LeBron James? It's not even a conversation.
I mean, he said it wasn't even a conversation between him and LeBron James, because when you put your head down and you bum rush the lane, I mean, that's not much of a conversation. There's nothing for us to talk about if that's your primary way to score. And I can do so many different things on the floor and that you just can't do. I mean, LeBron James can't shoot free throws. He just supposedly developed a three-point shot, which to me is fake news. You're just shooting 12 threes a game, so they better fall. Okay. When you're shooting at a higher volume, you should be able to make more of them. And also look at his arms. LeBron James has lost so many more pounds. He couldn't shoot the ball. I mean, he was clearly on PEDs. In my opinion, LeBron James was clearly on PEDs. He was too big. His arms he couldn't get his arms up to shoot the ball. Now he's able to wear a shooting sleeve. He looks like a fake three-point shooter now. But anyway, you heard Paul Pierce. Such a funny guy. I really hope he gets back out there on the air. But guys, I want to, speaking of scoring, when you think about the top scorers, right? You have LeBron James up there. Kevin Durant is supposed to be, he's going to be on that list. He might surpass Karl Malone by the end of his career. He might be second to LeBron James. He might be able to pass Kareem. Who knows? But when you think about scoring in today's league, why aren't there more modern NBA players in that top 10? Scoring is the easiest it's ever been. Why isn't LeBron James the best scorer? Why isn't he a 3 or 4 level scorer? Can't shoot free throws, can't shoot from behind the arc, can't post up. It's just bum rush to the basket. So in a league where there's no defense, and there hasn't been largely in the last 10 to 15 seasons, why isn't LeBron James a better scorer? I think that's a really good question for us to dissect and to talk about. I really do. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Why isn't LeBron James a better scorer in this defenseless league? Beach Girl Carly, this BS about LeBron James getting better and better. He doesn't defend, so it's a false positive about his athleticism. It's muscles. That's it. Anyone can get that. MJ killed it at offense and defense at 38 to 40. I agree. I mean, when we talk about, oh, we never saw somebody do such and such at 40, we did. We saw Michael Jordan do it at 40. LeBron James hasn't even been successful like past 35. I don't understand why we're lying and faking it about LeBron James's career. The longevity argument is dead. I've said this over and over, guys. I'm not going to support longevity for LeBron James anymore. He looks good. He's the greatest workout king of all time, but that's about it. You know, as far as on the court play, as far as being a basketball player at 40, I don't want to see it anymore. We're all ready for him to retire. I don't remember any superstar that has been begged by multiple people in the media and NBA fans all over the world to retire. We want him out. We want him gone. But again, I want to know from you guys, like, why isn't LeBron James a better scorer? Why can't he score at all 4 levels, all 5 levels if they're just, you know, he's been able to do whatever he wants. There's no defense. They removed defense from the league. So why aren't guys today, especially LeBron James, better scorers? LeBron is not a better scorer because he relies on his God-given attributes. He did not work on fundamentals, including shooting, right? And I mean, he never was able to get those fundamentals in college. He never did. Salute to Spurs and salute to Grape Tea News. Head over there and subscribe to their channel. Cottage also has a good channel. Go over there and subscribe to his channel. LeBron is scoring the same as when he was younger, but his points are not having the impact it used to due to the ease of scoring. Yeah, I mean, LeBron James hasn't had an impact on winning in several seasons. I don't think he's had an impact on winning since he's joined the Lakers. And I know they won the 2020 title, but I think Anthony Davis was really the driving. He was that factor. You know, LeBron James sort of just took the finals MVP from him because he was LeBron James, just like he took the Olympic MVP from Steph Curry, just like he took Rookie of the Year from Carmelo Anthony. What else? Also, he shoots fadeaways but does not practice them. He has the ugliest fadeaway jumper I've ever seen in my whole life. It looks broke down. Like, get off my screen. Reggie Miller at the end of his career was better than LeBron James at the end of his career. The difference is LeBron James attacks to the rim so much flashier, but Reggie Miller could shoot the 3. I mean, Reggie Miller was a real shooter. There's no scenario where I would be ever comparing him to LeBron as a shooter. LeBron James' form is awful. I just don't think he can shoot the ball. Rondo, Howard, and AD were vital to that team. Absolutely. Thank you. I was going to bring up Rookie of the Year. His career is completely scripted, manufactured, orchestrated. Why do you think so many of the old heads don't respect him? Why do you think there's this battle of the eras? Because LeBron James is out here talking all this shit with only 4 titles, 4 MVPs, 1 scoring title, 5 all defensive selections in a 20+ year span, in 23 years. His ex-teammate even disrespected him. Even Caruso says he finally got a real ring. Absolutely. The Lemicki title, people don't even think it's genuine. Daryl Morey came out to repeat what, private conversations that was shared with him amongst other GMs in the league. He couldn't even keep a lid on that. He had to go and run his mouth and let everybody know that, hey, that title that LeBron James won, nobody actually thinks it's real. Oh, I do, but nobody else. Eddie House has been roasting him for years. It's so funny because Eddie House is a detractor of LeBron James, but Eddie Johnson is a supporter of LeBron James. So, you just it's like LeBron James is tit for tat. He's 1 for 1 on everything. For every detractor, he finds a supporter. I just watched the 2020 playoffs again. Psych. Yeah, God didn't believe that, Psychic Muse. God didn't believe that because only 5 million people watched that NBA Finals. The Last Dance beat the NBA Finals. How crazy is that? Funny to hear about LeBron complaints only to backpedal. Yeah, no, for sure. 2 big detractors of LeBron James. I wonder what other former teammates are going to come out and say. LeBrick lacked the discipline and drive to put in the necessary work to develop the skills needed to be a dominating, reliable, successful pro athlete. The truth hurts. Westbrook has more career points, rebounds, and assists than Steph Curry, but no one considers him better. Elvin Hayes and more points and rebounds than Duncan. Fake bubble chip. I mean, Beach Carly, would you believe that anybody went back and watched the 2020 finals? Nobody. Nobody said that. Nobody believed that. And right, God didn't believe that shit. LeBum's jump shot looks like he fell from stairs or something. It's just like broken. It looks like I'm just like, what is going on here? And then when you see the shot go in, it's like even he's surprised. It's like, oh shit, that went in? I made that? His podcasts are making a lot of former players angry. It's getting way too disrespectful. They are going to start speaking more truth about him. Yeah, he's getting exposed more and more. And it's just, what's interesting is that the Barbie fans, they don't even care. They just don't even care. They just keep making excuses. They want to be delusional. They literally go and run and hide. When news comes out about their king, they just go and hide for days, for weeks. They can't get out of bed. They're depressed as if they broke up with a girlfriend or a boyfriend. They can't eat. They can't sleep. Because they abandoned the mid-range to chuck up 100+ threes a game, there was only one Splash Brothers. I'm with you. Import AI. I had more backspin on my shot in middle school than LeBrick. You're 100% right. I also want to take a moment to read some super chats. I've got one $5 super chat from Doctor3196. Salute to you for the $5 super chat and thank you. FYF is currently on live doing an $18 million LeBron James hate industry exposed live. 10 frumpy guys on Saturday night. Dweebs. You know what? I don't watch content that I don't enjoy or I guess relate to in some fashion. So I don't know what they do. I don't know anything about that channel, but I wish them well and whatever it is that they want to get out there. It's not that serious, 99. Salute to you. It's not that serious. And thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Today's players, most are grossly ignorant, entitled, and mostly stupid. The nuclear family makes a difference in a youth's life. That's one thing for sure, and 2 things for certain. People today, I just think we are living in a time where whatever is put out there on the internet is just repeated. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. We live in an AI world, so anything can be generated and pushed out there to the masses. And I mean, the ignorance and the entitlement, I think, it's one of the 2 things that I think is going to really, it's going to hurt the NBA. It's going to hurt today's kids because they don't know what hard work is. And they're not doing their homework. So they make all these comments and they just know it all, yet they know nothing. Sierra Ocelot, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Dom, love the content via Sydney, Australia. Salute to Australia. Salute to Sierra Ocelot. Really appreciate you watching all the way from Sydney. What is it, like a 9-hour time difference? Really appreciate you being here and joining the stream. Salute to everybody that's watching from different countries right now and different time zones. I really appreciate you guys. I know we have a pretty good Filipino population who's watching, and I really appreciate you guys. So salute to the Philippines, salute to India, salute to Qatar, salute to Australia, London, the UK, Europe, Italy, everywhere, guys. I really appreciate you watching and supporting Sports Tea. But I do want to head over into our last topic of the night. I'm really excited to talk about this John Stockton topic. He's been, making his way around the media here and there, and he said a lot of different things that have been, some of them have been going viral. I remember the one comment he made about LeBron taking the helicopter up to the top and basically cheating his way, through the game and, for 20 plus years. But this time, John Stockton makes an appearance on the Maverick Approach. It's a podcast ran by two gentlemen, and it was a really good, unfiltered appearance. And he was just flat out asked if the NBA was soft, just flat out directly asked. And, it was one of those things where he just gave the raw uncut. And so I want to play this video for you guys because I thought that it was real. It was too real. And he's telling the truth and uncut. And I want us to react together. I want to know what you guys think about it.
These dudes are like 7 foot, and especially the era that he played in is like, that was the real,
that was the golden era.
That was the golden era.
I would say. What do you think about the NBA now? I think the NBA is soft. I don't watch it. Like, it's like when you guys played, Jordan, Pippen, you, Malone, those are the times. Allen Iverson to a later degree. But after that, it's just like the ratings are down. So the ratings are down, I think 5 to 10%. Even this past NBA Finals dropped 10% from last
like
year.
a million.
Yeah, a million plus.
Million viewers.
Yeah. So what do you think is happening right now? Like, is the NBA too soft?
Yeah, I'm not watching a bunch of it. Life's busy, and no, it is. I'm not sitting there saying I'm not going to watch that. Life's busy. I've got kids, I've got grandkids. They're playing sports. I'd rather watch that. So it's not a negative thing like that. However, things that I see are, I do think it's softer. You have guys that can take 20 days off. What they call it, load management. I can't. Could you imagine your dad coming home? I'm a take a few weeks of work off, well, who's going to feed us then? You know what I'm saying? These guys do it, and they're supposed to be examples and the league allows it. I mean, so load management, things like that, the salaries are off the charts. The style of play is, these kids are talented, man. They can make shots. And because they make shots, everybody thinks they should be taking them. And so it's just throw it out. There's less strategy. There's less physicality. The safety, again, kind of back to the COVID thing. Safety is more important than the game. And I don't know. I think the game's first. I think people are looking for gladiators out there. They want you to go to war, and they want to see you do what they can't do, not go out there and shake hands and hug each other and shoot jumpers, but
and take selfies.
Yeah, everybody's like so kissy and like, oh, this is my buddy. It's like, no, go out there like you're my enemy. We're going to war.
We had teammates that were on another team the next year, and literally you wouldn't even look them in the eye back in the day. You just, okay, let's go.
Yeah, I love it. That's how we used to play.
Exactly.
And that I don't think it's like that anymore. Like, and here's the thing. I'll be very candid. So with LeBron, he's probably the most athletically gifted athlete we've ever seen. But the fact that he's so soft, it doesn't do anything for me. Like, he's 6'8", 250. He's super fast, can pass, shoot, everything. Incredible. But it's just like
flops.
I don't know, man. I like when you see guys like you, obviously, Jordan, Ewing, Pippen, like Mailman, like, it's just like it was a completely different game, man. And it's kind of a shame to what it's become. And because I don't watch basketball anymore like you. Like, it's just like my last era was Allen Iverson. Like, he was my favorite, and and it really pisses me off too that they cheated him, like with Tim Donahue coming out saying that he had it out for him. Do you feel like that refs had it out for you? Do you feel like the NBA is rigged at all?
No, listen, we all feel like we get cheated from time to time. When guys would come to our team and they'd say, "Man, we thought you guys got every call. Now I'm with you. You guys don't get any calls." And so I know that our views are jaded. I'm hoping and I pray and I think about it sometimes at night that it was all on the up and up, because for every victory for every loss you take because you think you got screwed, then you have to entertain the notion that you might have gotten the shaft when you were winning. So I'm not willing to entertain that. I know how tough those battles were to try to win, and we did try to win them. And so if we got cheated and gained an advantage, I don't want to know about it, because it means that we got it when we want to.
Yeah, true. That's a great point. Great point. And I feel like certain, refs may had it out for certain players. Do you feel like any refs had it out for you specifically?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, we're people, and there's things we like about guys and things we don't like about guys, and that's part of it. It's part of refereeing. And so, I mean, referees, I don't expect referees to get every call right. I just want them to give it an honest run at it. So yeah, there's certain guys. I had a guy did an experiment with me. One of my teammates had sat next to me on the plane, and we were talking about a guy that I knew stuck it to me every time we played. And he was an ex-point guard, white guy in the league, and he'd reffed our games. And every time we reffed, I'm just 4 fouls, 5 fouls, whatever. He said, "Look, I think it's you." I go, "What do you mean it's me? What kind of psychological nonsense is this?" He says, "I think you're creating that, and it's happening because of you're thinking you're going to get treated poorly." So I did. So I made So I made a little experiment. I said, "Okay, I'm going to change my attitude about this, and I'll be darned if it didn't work." I said, "No, this guy is going to be good. He's going to be a great ref. He's not out to get me." And from that point forward, I never had an issue with it again. I actually would call him a friend to this day. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I don't know if it worked for everybody, but it worked for me.
I really appreciate John Stockton. I mean, could you imagine playing in the 90s and, you have a teammate that you love and they get traded to the Bulls. You're on Utah and imagine your teammate gets traded to the Bulls and you can't even look at them again. You can't shake their hand. Like, you're just going to shoulder bump them when you see them. It was like that. The nicey stuff that you see. They took the competition really seriously. And I know you'd see players playing golf. You'd even see Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas kissing before the game, kissing on the cheek. But competition and the way that you faced your competition with it was just much different back in the day than it is now today. And he just answered. He was just like, "Yeah, NBA today is soft. I don't really watch. I'm busy." When you love a sport, you're not really too busy. I still love basketball in the NBA so much that as bad as it's gotten, I still watch. And John Stockton doesn't even watch. That's where we're at. That's where the state of the NBA is that it's unwatchable. LeBron James is unwatchable. The Boston Celtics this past season were unwatchable. The 3-point barrage, I'm tired of it. And I'm sure you guys are too. And it got better. We see OKC leaning into a much different style, right? We see the Bucks leaning into a much different style. I'd much rather watch Giannis, a low-skilled player, and his Bucks team play a combination of inside-out basketball than to watch LeBron, than to watch the Celtics. I do really enjoy Anthony Edwards, but the league has gotten soft. John Stockton is right. And when you're talking about a 6'9", 280 or whatever LeBron James's weight is, I mean, the gentleman from the Maverick approach, he said it best. He was just like, LeBron's a great player, obviously, but I can't with the flopping. And he's just so soft. He called him out. He called out LeBron James specifically as being soft. And Stockton disagreed. Yeah, soft. Load management, as obviously it's ruined the league, but what happened to bigger, stronger, faster? I didn't get a chance to do the man down panel this Friday, and I'm sad about that because I watched later, and I think it was in the first or the second segment, the conversation about athletes today being bigger, stronger, faster came up, and if athletes are bigger, stronger, and faster today, then why can't they score the ball better and why can't they defend? They're bigger, stronger, and faster. They're supposed to be, right? But I disagree with that. I think that athletes back in the day were much bigger, stronger, and faster. I really do feel that way. And the reason why I feel that way is because, they did all the things that today's game doesn't do. They actually, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this thing that NBA players used to do. It was called like a slam dunk. Do you guys remember that? I do. I remember like slam dunks. I know they don't do it anymore, and I might be considered old, but the slam dunk, it was something that was really cool. Remember this thing? The dunk. Yeah. So NBA players used to dunk the ball, but now they don't dunk the ball anymore. They take 3-point shots, but yet they're bigger, stronger, faster. That's what we're supposed to believe, right? That's what we're being told. NBA players today are bigger, stronger, faster. But you can barely find a legitimate center in the league. Brook Lopez is big, but is he strong? And is he fast? Because I don't see any of that. Nick Claxton, I think he's a center. I don't think he's big at all. He's pretty scrawny. Guys, we see NBA players who, they literally need to go back to the hospital and finish being born. Trae Young looks like he has like an developed skull. When you're a baby and you have to shape a baby's head, you can't give them a haircut for maybe the 0 to 2 years because their skull needs to develop. That's what Trae Young looks like to me. He's missing part of the brain. He needs to go back to the hospital. His body looks underdeveloped. Victor Wembanyama, he looks underdeveloped, his body. And there's plenty of basketball players that look like that. There's too many NBA players that they don't show up to the NBA with a basketball player body, i.e. Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, so many. Bigger, stronger, faster. Can't defend, can't score at multiple levels, but they're bigger, stronger, faster. I'm confused. They're supposed to be bigger, stronger, faster, but they need to flop? How is the NBA bigger, stronger, faster, but it's soft? Can you make that make sense to me? Can anybody? Something else that I liked about John Stockton's appearance is that, he mentioned Kyrie. He talked about how much respect and admiration he has for him. And he even said that he's tried to get in touch with him because he really supports him over his vaccine choice and, and speaking out and advocating for that. And apparently Kyrie Irving has never gotten back to him. And, I think that might have been for the best. I don't think Kyrie Irving should be allowing himself to be used in any sort of agendas. So good for him for steering clear of that. And good for John Stockton for giving him a nod, for shouting him out, for going on the Maverick approach and speaking the truth. But what do you guys think about this? I've got about 10 minutes left, and I would love to take some phone calls and hear from you guys. We can pretty much cook on any topic here. So, do you guys think that John Stockton is right about this era of modern NBA players? How do you feel about this? I'll read some comments, and I'll open the phone lines. And call in, guys. Talk to me nice. Let's see. Trey has a bird's nest on his head. You guys are just so funny. I can't. Let's see. The biggest lie they tell is that the athletes were bigger, stronger, and faster. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you on that. Beach girl Carly, LeBron is not the most athletically gifted. MJ was. Other NBA athletes have great bods too. LeBron just shows off his on purpose for the narrative spin of him being in great shape at his age. I'm with you. I don't think that he is the most athletically gifted. I think that he knows how to work out. That's it. I think he knows how to work out. We saw him doing those squats, poking out his booty, and he knows how to work out. That's what I'm going to give LeBron James credit for. I'm not going to give him credit for never working on his game, for still playing like he's in high school. That's how LeBron James plays, just like he's in high school, and all he ever practices is a 3-point shot, nothing else. Please. But yeah, I'm with you, Beach Girl Carly. Lots of narrative spins, and pretty much everything is to pad the GOAT legacy, supposedly. Yes, king of the weight room, Spurzan. That's about it. He knows how to work out. But guys, I do have a few moments. I probably have about 10 minutes. If anybody wants to call in, I would love to hear from you guys. So call in, talk to me nice. Happy Saturday to everybody. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Salute to Frankie Fernandez watching from Guam. Really appreciate you, buddy. Nobody wants to call in tonight? Nobody has any thoughts on Kyrie Irving, Stacey King, Austin Rivers, John Stockton? My doggy won't stop barking. I know what that's like. Sometimes my dog is crying while I'm on live talking to you guys. It's really funny. Trey, I just can't get over this comment right here. Trey has a bird's nest on his head. I'm weak. I've been calling Trey Scum a Gerber baby. I'm dead. Yeah, like missing dunks and layups. Like, how can you be bigger, stronger, faster out here missing dunks and layups? Like, miss me with the bullshit today, please. 3 Achilles tears in the postseason. Wow. LOL. What's a poster dunk? Screensaver doesn't hit the same. Yeah, I'm with you, William Wright. I'd rather see an inside game than watching players jacking up threes so much as well. At least players back in the day go inside and also did a fast break basketball going to the hoop. Yeah, I'm with you. And why they're missing dunks like I've never seen before. You want to know why? Do you guys remember when Paul George said on his podcast, dunking hurts. It hurts to dunk the ball. Do you remember that? Like I had secondhand embarrassment. I never heard an NBA player get on anywhere in any interview, post game, and anywhere and say that it hurt them to dunk the ball. So that's why they're missing dunks, because they don't dunk with enough force anymore. They dunk with no force, so they wind up hurting themselves. Yeah, they don't go to the rim strong because they don't want to get injured. They're in fear. Okay, guys, I guess nobody's calling in. I really appreciate you guys joining the live today. I had so much fun. And, too bad we didn't get any phone calls tonight, but I hope that everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Saturday evening and that you guys get some rest. I may be going live again tomorrow. Super excited for that. And like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, share the video. This one is really important, guys. I really need for you to share the video with your friends and family and share the video on your social networks. Let's grow the community to be big. And, let's see. Oh, I thought I was getting a call. But since nobody's calling in, we're gonna go ahead and end it. We're gonna call it a night. Thank you all for joining. Oh, we did in fact get, okay, so this caller ID says Kobe Bryant. So I have to pick up this phone, guys, and take a screenshot of this caller ID. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice. It says I've got Kobe Bryant on the line.
Hey, how you doing? This is Jay from New York.
Hey, Jay, how's it going? I'm a New Yorker too.
I'm
So
fantastic.
talk to me nice.
Absolutely. I just want to first of all thank you for your show. I do watch it whenever I can. So I think you're doing a great job. And I'll be real quick. That bigger, stronger, faster thing. The funny thing is it's measurable, right? So if you're stronger, then we can measure that. If you could jump higher, we can measure that. And if you're faster, we can measure that. Interestingly enough, the biggest and strongest and fastest players, when you actually look at the measurement, they're all from players way back. And also durable counts as well with athleticism. So we can clearly see that the players aren't as durable as they used to be. So if you're so much bigger and stronger and faster, then why aren't you as durable as well? So it's all an indication. If you speak to any trainer, they'll tell you all this stuff is measurable. And it's funny that they never bring out how fast LeBron James can run, how fast can he jump, how strong is he? You know, looking strong is not being strong as well. So I just find it funny that they throw that out all the time, yet they don't give us any numbers. They love numbers, right? Stats and all that. So why don't you give us those stats?
They never do. And I love that you said that. I absolutely love it. And I mean, let's just take a look at the injury stats. If they're just so bigger, stronger, faster, there's all this advanced technology, but they're always injured. They're always sitting out. Why can't they make it through 82 games? But Michael Jordan could do it 9 times. John Stockton could do it. I think he did it in, double digits for years. I mean, when you take a look at NBA players of the past, not only were they bigger, stronger, faster, they were just tougher. Right? They had mental fortitude that they just don't have today in today's league, that we're never going to see again, unfortunately, due to the entitlement and, just the way that kids are growing up today.
Oh, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely correct. Well, I really appreciate what you're doing, and thank you. Continue doing what you're doing, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Thanks for calling in. Have a wonderful night.
My pleasure. You too.
Salute to you. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
Peace, Dom's brother Juma.
Hey, brother Juma. Talk to me nice. How's it going? Happy Saturday.
Thank you. I'm well blessed, black, live in abundance. Just want to shout you out. Really do appreciate what you're still doing, staying in there, keeping this content coming. Shout out to the mods. Everybody's holding it down, and we have an amazing community. The chat is always on point. Much respect to everybody.
Thank you so much, brother Juma. Really appreciate you. What are your thoughts? What do you want to cook on tonight? Do you?
I could spit on anything. I just.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite topic? And we'll get into that.
Actually, we run down to me. I don't have my
So we
I don't
talked
have
about
my screen up.
we talked about Kyrie Irving. Why do we think that he's waiting so long to expose LeBron James? He said that he's got a story to tell, but he's not going to tell it till he's finished playing. And I also asked the question, do you think that he's super triggered by Kobe Bryant and any kind of slander surrounding him? Then we talked about Stacy King.
Okay, yeah, well, definitely. I could do a little bit of Kyrie or any of them at all, but definitely with Kyrie. I think this is just with the entire league in general. At first, people weren't saying much about LeBron. They still aren't. They're still glazing, right? They always have to say something positive before you get into the real facts of how he plays and his just position as a man and an athlete. But now that it's seeming like, I think they're doing that because they're still glazing because possibly he was still going to get a team, and they know that even after he retires, he was still going to have a stronghold on the league by having a team and his media group. But by seeing within the last, 6 months how the Lakers have kind of like said they've had enough, the NBA have said they've had enough, the way he's been mistreating, just the facts and, the way he went in on talking about the trades and stuff and how he's pretty much just biting the hand that feeds him. First it's okay when we did it to players. You can insult employees sometimes, but you sure can't talk shit about the company that you work for. So I definitely think that because now that it seems like he's not going to get a team, and the Lakers ownership and management aren't having it. They did a strong pivot to the Luka's pivoting as well, turned his back on him, which he should, because he was he's the reason Luka was used as the scapegoat for why they didn't didn't move forward in the playoffs last year, when LeBron was the one in the last 2 minutes or last 1 minute of the last 2 games had turnovers. unforced turnovers. So I think that's what it is. I think basically Kyrie, he's been holding this in. He wants to keep his job. But they won a championship, and he tried to and then LeBron tried to trade him on the low, and then people were giving Kyrie an attitude because he wanted to leave because he found out LeBron was trying to trade him. Who trades a person who's making who's basically your right hand man? He wasn't a Robin. He was his right hand man. I think he averaged didn't Kyrie have 26 or 27 points a game, or definitely matched him 40 for 40 every game. And of course came through in the clutch with the Mamba mentality, ice in the veins.
Kyrie thought he was the man on the team. He wanted to be the man. They were competing. Like LeBron James was a diva. Kyrie Irving wanted to bring his girlfriends on the flights and stuff like that. They were told that only LeBron could bring his people. Like nobody could travel with any girlfriends, only LeBron. And so Kyrie started turning up and bringing his girlfriends on the flight. Then only LeBron was allowed to use his own trainer. So Kyrie Irving got his own trainer. There were different power struggles happening, on the Cavaliers when they played together. And I just think, I think that they both played a role in, how in bad behavior. But I'll say that Kyrie Irving, he was the number one on that team when LeBron James got there. So he joined him. He came and teamed up with Kyrie. And then, so they're kind of battling for this number one spot. But Kyrie Irving, he believed that he never wanted to play with him. He never wanted to play with LeBron James. So to find out that, hey, I hit the game winner and you're out here trying to trade me, that's, it's just so disrespectful. And then obviously the LeBarbie fans, they supported it. They turned their back on Kyrie. Then he was, the number one enemy, right? So I think
number one draft pick.
I think Kyrie has been put in, he's been having to play and work, not only in a toxic work environment, but he's had to play under duress. He's pretty much been harassed his entire career because he played alongside LeBron James.
Definitely.
And, I feel bad for him. Yes, he made those flat earth idiot, comments. Yes, he's done some things that I don't necessarily approve of or enjoy, but he has had a really long, hard career. And a lot of that is just because he was LeBron James's teammate, which is unfair.
Agreed.
So,
I definitely agree. Yeah, he's taking a lot of hits, and it's unfortunate because I know they gas him up and say he's the best handles of all time. He's not, because it's completely different. There's not it's just not as physical. You don't have no hand checks, and people can just 10 years ago you could just 15 years ago you could just walk in the lane, you're gonna get touched. But it is what it is. I mean, he has an extremely he can shoot anywhere on the court. He is what LeBron should be. He took the time to learn his mid range, get his footwork, work on his handles, have a bag driving to the basket, a layup bag, left hand, right hand. He really is, pretty much unstoppable on that court. It's and he has a clutch gene, but because he's teamed up with LeBron, he had to catch the poor end of that. So it's unfortunate. Hopefully he gets healthy and LeBron doesn't get over there and they can actually turn it up this year.
We'll see what goes. So I really appreciate your call, Brother Juma. Was there any final thoughts that you wanted to share?
That's about it, Dom. We do appreciate you. Keep the chat. You guys get those likes up, and let's just all keep our fingers and toes crossed that this is this man's last year, and we can start enjoying basketball again, and not have to worry about combating whack takes about some LeGoat.
I know. I think that he's going to try to go to another team. I think he wants to control his farewell tour. I don't think he wants his retirement to be controlled by the Lakers and what they're currently doing in this season, and the fact that they're basically pushing him out.
Definitely go ahead.
I just think, it's better for his legacy for him to retire a Laker, because now he gets completely removed from being one of the greatest Lakers of all times, that he's not going to retire with that team. And you take a look at the tenure. What is it? 7 seasons. You've made one finals. You won in the finals in 2020, and then went to one Western Conference Finals, and then missed the playoffs twice and knocked out in the first round the other season. So, just not a good 7-year run, in my opinion.
Definitely isn't, and it's all, and any blind man can see. We're all, not just in this chat, globally. Everybody knows. the numbers, the stats speak for themselves. Like you say, you've been in the league 20 years, you've won 4 championships. It's a joke. You know, he's sitting here trying to control his narrative. He's not looking. He's what is it when you're when you can't read the room? You know what I mean? Like, you're not self-aware. You know, he should be like, he really just needs to be like, let me get out of here. Like it's just crazy that he's going out like this. It's just, it's insane. It really is like a little baby Huey, like some type of man child who's whining and crying. You have $52 million and you're 40 years old. You know, you haven't won. You barely make it out of the playoffs. You're like, what, 2-13 in the playoffs? I don't know what the exact number is, but you have the all-time worst records for losses for the Lakers and just in general in playoffs and finals. You know, you don't show up in the fourth quarter. You never have. You know, it's like any employee that does anything for 20 years, any person, if you do something consistently for 20 years and you don't improve at it, then there's a problem. There's a problem.
No,
I
agree.
You're not handling your business.
But it's because you didn't have to. Could you imagine Michael Jordan just knowing that everybody was going to follow him over a cliff and he just didn't want to get any better season over a season? Like, LeBron James is pitiful. I find him to be pathetic. And, you know, he's just ran the league into the ground. But the word that you're looking for, the term when somebody just can't read the room, it's tone deaf. You know, it's called
tone deaf. There we go.
Lacking in emotional intelligence. You know, LeBron James lacks in so many different things. I mean, he can't read a book. So, you know, he can't do his homework about, you know, the league and actually the history of the sport. He never watched these people. I don't even think, and I'm going to be very honest with you, I don't believe he watched Michael Jordan. I don't believe he watched.
The perfect scenario would have been if they did what they did, right? Give him the title, make him the chosen one. Now he's a king, and then he still puts in the work and has humility.
Absolutely.
You know, practices hard and not just ride the wave. Because at the end of the day,
and not just running his mouth.
You have to be accountable.
LeBron James has ran his mouth more than he's played this year, in my opinion.
Exactly. For him, his son, it's just embarrassing at this point. When it's all said and done, like, no one can hide the truth. It's like you and all these other male, you know, I don't know, all these other guys, Ticket and Angry Old Hoops, Robin, all these, everyone has so much content. Scap, like all the, you know, the uncut. There's so much content out there, say, that it can't be denied. You know, it cannot be denied. Once people start doing deep dives, they'll find out. So he should have quit when he was ahead.
We're going to keep telling the truth. It's not going to end. You know,
please,
as long as LeBron James is lying and pushing out these narratives, we're going to keep telling the truth about it. LeBron James is not the GOAT. We're not going to lie and say he's the GOAT.
No, never.
So
I will say, I look at some of these younger guys. I forget some of their names. Some of those content creators, some of these younger dudes in their like mid-20s, and watching them convert as they watch these videos. It's just amazing to see. Yeah, I mean, because it's not a hard.
You can't support clownery.
Yeah.
You can't,
you
know, like, it's like, okay, like, do you want to be a clown in the circus too?
You know, and then a lot of his fans are younger who didn't even see the beginning of his career. They didn't see his failures against the Mavericks or the statements that he says about, you know, if you guys, you know, you guys go back to your regular lives, or, you know, he should have stayed with Miami. I was a LeBron fan. I love the fact that he was a great passer, a distributor. I loved it when he went to Miami, you know, and also if he would have just stayed there, but no, he had to try to control the team, tell Pat Riley he did just do his job, learn how to be coached, you know, understand or learn different schemes of basketball, you know, and then become a better player. But he had to I have to my way or no way, literally cry over cookies and leave with his lip sticking out, you know, a child. That's what he is. He literally is a man child. My way or no way, I'm going to cry and complain. And it's just, that's what his legacy is going to end up being. Not holding himself accountable, snitching and basically just throwing friends under the family. I mean, throwing teammates under the bus, and never reaching his full potential.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Brother Juma. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you for calling in, talking to me nice. And
thank you for doing what you do, Dom.
Thank you so much. And I will see you at the next live. Okay?
All right. Y'all take care. Peace.
All righty. Bye-bye. Guys, I want you to take a look at the comment on screen. That is our new panel member of Man Down Sports. Her name is Brianna, and she also has her own channel. It's called the No Bull Podcast. Okay. So I would like for you guys to do me a favor and go over there and subscribe to her channel. She is delivering fantastic content. She knows her stuff, and she is an athlete as well. So go over there, subscribe to her channel, and show her some love. Okay. We're all in this together. We're us content creators. We're out here telling the truth as we see it, and we're not going to stop telling the truth. So we're going to keep bringing more content. And I really appreciate you guys coming in here tonight, staying up late with me for some, and just watching and commenting. The engagement was on fire, super lit in the chat tonight. So I really appreciate you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And have a wonderful night. Thank you for the calls. Thank you for the mods. Salute to everybody. You guys are amazing. And Con Camps KBA. Thank you so much. Great live. Thanks for having me as a first-time caller. Anytime. You guys are amazing, and I really appreciate you all. So have a wonderful evening and happy Saturday.